Hi, we've just finished the first leg of our Ugly Stik tour, and I'm in Whitby with Paul Kilpatrick, one of our sponsored skippers. We've had an absolutely fantastic day today, Paul, catching cod out of this famous fishing port.
Yeah.
How long have you been a skipper?
About 30 years. 30 years.
And you're very busy, aren't you? I know
yeah.
you're pretty much solidly booked out, and actually you've got fishing year round here.
The fishing at Whitby, the cod fishing at Whitby really is probably, well, some of the best in the country, to be honest. There's cod here all year round, which makes Whitby unique. You know, that's why it's so good.
And what other fish do you catch as well? I know that you catch other fish apart from cod.
Yeah, we get all sorts. We get ling, we get pollock, we get haddock. You know, we even get halibut if we're lucky.
Wow, yeah, I saw that photo a few weeks ago of a massive
53
pounder. That's absolutely awesome.
Fish, yeah.
And that was caught on sea otter too.
It was caught on sea otter too, yeah.
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Superb fish.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've had a really great day.
Yeah.
I know that you've used the Ugly Stik rods for some time.
I love the rods, I really do, you know.
And obviously we've used the new Ugly Stik GX2 today, the 2030 and the 1220. So the idea of the Ugly Tour is that this rod's now going to go off to another one of our sponsored boats somewhere else in the country, so we can report back on that pretty quickly.
I'm sure it'll do well. It's done very well today. It's a lovely piece of kit. You know, I'd recommend it to anybody.
Well, thanks so much.
Yep.
Thanks to you and your crew.
Yep.
Cheers,
Brilliant.
Paul.
Great company, mate. Cheers.
Paul, we've had a terrific day out there today.
Been great.
Quite a lot of cod.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed myself. One thing that I've noticed about Whitby, you know, looking back over the years, this used to be one area, the East Coast, particularly this area, where people would tend to fish pretty heavy, 30, 50 class rods.
That's all changed,
hasn't it?
Has, mate,
We've been using the Ugly Stik GX2 1220 class today.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about why it's changed over to lighter tackle.
Well, everybody, I mean, the Scarboroughs, the heavy rods, you know, years ago, perks, heavy perks, everybody's fishing lighter. You're using lighter weights, you're using jellies. That was never a thing at Whitby. This is a rage now. This is what's...
It's much more sporting.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, a lot of lads who fish on Marva Slayer, they're all fishing with very light tackle nowadays, you know. It's great, and it's very sporting.
One of the principal techniques is shad fishing.
It is.
Soft plastics.
It's a big thing, yeah.
And it's really interesting the way you do it. Would you be able to give me sort of 2 or 3 top tips for people that are going to follow us on?
I mean, what we normally find is, you know, if you're fishing rough ground, you're often better jigging the shad, on like a hopper.
Like hopping it,
yes,
yeah.
Jigging
because
it.
a lot of people would be more used to retrieving it, wouldn't they?
What I find is when you go a little bit, you know, when you get into August time when the big shoals of sprats are here, sometimes the cod do go off the bottom and winding does work a little bit better. But if you take it on average, the hopping, the jigging the lure seems to be the better option.
Right.
You know.
And what about the size of the fish? Is there a particular time of year when you get in, you know, your sort of smaller codling? When would you expect your bigger cod?
Well, as I say, they're here all year round. You generally get more smaller cod, abundance of them, usually through the winter months when we're up tiding. Through the summer you usually get your better fish with the lures.
Okay, you know. And with the big fish and smaller fish in mind, what size lures should people consider? And what sort of colours too? I
mean, blue's pretty good. It's blue, you know, 4-inch lures are pretty good. I would say on average 4 inches probably about the best lure.
Yeah, really. I've been using the Shakespeare Devil's Own today, the 4-inch ones,
and
I've done really
very
well on those.
Today. Did very well, yeah.
And it's quite an interesting rig that you use, isn't it, when you're shad fishing? I've left my tackle set up, and basically it's your main line coming down to a snap link.
Yep.
And the interesting bit is, I know there's 2 ways you can do it, but you can either have a snap link coming off that same top eye, which then takes your hook trace, which is about 4 or 5 feet to your shad.
That's correct.
But alternatively, I noticed also sometimes you dispense with this second hook link and tie direct to the top swivel, don't you? With your hook link.
You can do that as well, yeah. That is another option. I mean, we don't use booms anymore, not for the shadding, you know. For the pollocking, for the long traces, the booms, but for this method, just a very basic, so simple is that rig, you know.
Yeah, and it's anti-tangle, isn't it?
Very anti-tangle.
Yeah, I fished all day and
very simple.
I haven't got tangled once. The other interesting thing as well with the hopping is that you'd lose very little tackle. People would expect you'd lose a lot of tackle on rough ground, but I've lost one set today.
You lose. You can go all day on the same lure if you're lucky.
Yeah.
You know, all day long. The time you might have to change your lure is if the fish damages it, and then but usually you can get away with the same lure if you're lucky. You know.
It sounds good. Well, Paul, I've really enjoyed my day. I shall definitely be back, and I look forward to fishing with you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.